opinions. Who gives a fuck if people disagree, kind of thing. And we said we had 2 more of them, but we decided we were going to save them. So we're going to do them this week. So to start with, we've got, in our opinions, the most underrated comic book movie of all time. This doesn't necessarily mean that it's like the best film ever and everyone's sleeping on it. Just compared to where you think it is and where you believe most people put it, what's the biggest difference? And then we also have the most overrated comic book movie. Now, I'm going to get you to go first, Tori, because I think I'm going to piss a lot of people off.
Well, last week's questions were easy enough for me. This week's questions, I'm always the worst for these, because like when we did our tier list a long time ago, I essentially, I find it really hard to rate films on like any large scale. It's either I enjoyed the film, I didn't like the film. That's as far as my ratings go. That's the way my brain works. So it's like pretty much all the Marvel films, I enjoy them all. So to try and pick the most underrated, I kind of have 2. One that's probably a lot of people maybe disagree on me, and maybe it's just the way my brain is, but one of them is The Incredible Hulk. I don't think it's as bad as people make out. It's definitely not. It's definitely the bottom end of Marvel films, but I don't think it's as bad as people feel it is. And maybe that's just because I'm like, it was satisfying enough that I enjoyed it, so I don't put it that low. And I think it plays its part it needs to in the whole grand scheme of the MCU, and it's the building blocks of it. Then the other one is, which has kind of like, had you asked me like a year or so ago, I definitely would have said this, but I guess it's probably shifted a lot recently, which is the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Like everyone kind of rated Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man as the worst one. A lot of people did, but I've always enjoyed them. And I feel like they were, out of the Spider-Man films, they're underrated in that sense.
Okay. So for underrated, I've gone for the original X-Men film. And that is not because I think it's poorly received or that people don't like it. I think it gets forgotten about a lot when people talk about really good comic book films.
I was about to say I can't remember the original X-Men film.
Don't get me wrong, it doesn't really hold up too much to where we're at now with comic book films, but X-Men films walked so the MCU could run. And I think the original X-Men film is actually still holds up, still a good film. And it's not underrated because people will watch it and go, I think it's underrated because people just can forget about it when it's actually quite a good film.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even really remember the film.
And I'm going to go first with overrated because I think this is what's going to piss people off.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to preface this. Yes, this is a brilliant fucking film. It's probably top 10 comic book films of all time. Maybe even top 5. But people act like it's one and no one's even close. Spider-Man 2 from the Raimi trilogy.
Oh.
I fucking adore that film. The people who rant and rave that it is the greatest comic book film ever and no one's ever going to top it, I'm willing to bet have not watched that film in 10 plus years and just imagine it and remember it with rose-tinted glasses.
Let's don't associate with this man. So any hate, please direct towards Conor, not me. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing at any point here.
Don't get me wrong. I adore this film. It's a fucking amazing film. It is not as good as a lot of people would like to make it seem.
I get what you're saying.
And don't get me wrong, I might be on the wrong parts of the internet. I might be getting stuck in the parts of the internet where people just circle jerk about this film, and actually the majority of the internet agrees that yes, it's a good film, but it's not this amazing revolutionary film. But based on what I see on the internet, I think it's a little bit overrated.
Okay. Well, my overrated is different. Now I'm going to preface this of I haven't seen this, which maybe ruins my entire opinion. But
so no.
But from what I have, because I've not like tried to avoid spoilers on it, so I have heard enough about it that I feel I can preface this opinion.
I feel like I'm about to have a shot taken at me.
I don't know, maybe, but it's the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Hey, no, that's valid. That is valid as fuck.
I feel like everyone raves about Snyder Cut made it this incredible film because they always go on and like it should be the Snyderverse now and like it's this incredible film. But from everything I've heard is like, yes, it improved the film, but the film's still not that great.
So my opinion on it, as someone who's seen the original Justice League and the Snyder Cut, the original Justice League is the only time in my entire life I have left the cinema angry.
Okay.
Physically sitting there watching it angry. Even the original Suicide Squad, I wasn't angry. I just left and I was like, oh, I mean, it was entertaining at parts, and then the story started to fall apart as I thought about it after I left. Mm-hmm. With the Justice League, I was sitting there watching stuff happen going, that's fucking dumb. This is not enjoyable. I dislike this greatly. And I probably ruined the film for Jenna even more. I know she doesn't like it, but it made it difficult for her to even try and enjoy it with me sitting there literally shaking with anger at how bad it was. The Snyder Cut is infinitely better, but Infinity of Dog Shit doesn't make it the greatest thing ever. It is definitely overrated, and I think that's a stellar pick. But somehow you might actually be more hated for that opinion than me.
Probably because I haven't seen it.
But no, forget that. Snyder Cut fanboys and Snyderverse fanboys might be the worst subsection of comic book fanboys.
That's why it's overrated, though, because they're so obsessed.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it is a good film, and it's definitely worth watching. But it's not as good as some people would have you believe, which is exactly what overrated means.